Even before the talks that will happen tomorrow, Pakistan seems absolutely keen to provoke India as much as possible. Maybe it is a way of the new foreign minister of Pakistan, Hina Rahmani's attempt to prove her nationalistic credentials. Because even before the dialogue process begins, she had a detailed meeting with a group of anti-India secessionists. And on the other hand, the Foreign Secretary of Pakistan backed the ISI man, Ghulam Fai. One word to describe it is provocation. We have two views tonight. We are putting a question out on the Newshour this evening. By meeting pro-Pakistan lobbies first, has the Pakistan foreign minister diluted her meeting with S.M. Krishna? I'd like to first bring in Mr. Ram Jethmalani. Mr. Jethmalani, hasn't she diluted her meeting with S.M. Krishna by having the meeting with the Hurriyat first today?
Listen, I think the lady doesn't need to be criticized really for this. I don't think that this is proper diplomacy, but it is more honest, because after all, the Hurriyat leaders did represent in India the Pakistan viewpoint, and they were rightly at one time characterized as separatists. It is after the Hurriyat broke up into two, the moderates and the extremists, and the moderates being in a majority, that they have been speaking about a honorable solution between India and Pakistan. But I believe that they still have the representative character of Pakistan's viewpoint, and there is no doubt, there is no reason why she should not meet them. I mean, this is a more honest way of doing things. So I admire this lady. I mean, I haven't had the honor of meeting her, and I hope I will meet her while she is here. It's all right, she has met them, and they will tell her what the current situation is, that how they have drifted away from their original position, and to what extent they have worked with us and signed declarations which have been produced before the press, in which they have said that these are the conditions on which an honorable settlement can be arrived at. So I think it is good that she is going to acquaint herself by talking to them at first hand.
You're being extremely, I may say, Mr. Jethmalani, you're being extremely forgiving. I don't know how the Pakistanis would have reacted, Maruf, had S.M. Krishna or when Nirupama Rao was Foreign Secretary gone to Islamabad and had meetings with all the Baluchi leaders, issued a news press release, simultaneous press releases from Delhi, castigating Pakistan's position. I mean, we don't do that. We don't do that. Do we, Maruf?
When poor Krishna was attacked...
Arnab, you know, Mr. Jethmalani is from another era, so he must be forgiven his idealism. I mean, with due respects, he's a very distinguished legal luminary. But on these issues that he's brought out, I think we need to get more real about how to conduct diplomacy. Firstly, I mean, your point about Indian diplomats or Indian officials meeting Baluchis, I don't think we can draw a comparison, because we have never supported the Baluchi cause, and therefore I think Mr. Manmohan Singh, in all his romanticism in dealing with Pakistan, had added the Baluchi element to the Sharm el-Sheikh statement, which then became a complete embarrassment for the Foreign Office, and Shiv Shankar Menon, who is now our National Security Advisor, had gone on record to say that it was a drafting error, and therefore he was forgiven and removed from Foreign Secretary and made National Security Advisor. Having said that, let me look at now what the situation is. Clearly, the Hurriyat, and there are many elements within the Hurriyat, they firstly don't command complete legitimacy amongst the people of Kashmir. They are not electorate. Secondly, many of them have been on the payroll of the ISI, and it has been once again established that even people like Ghulam Nabi Fai have been funding many of the Hurriyat people to make anti-India noises. And this is the kind of stuff that Pakistan wants to hear. Clearly, my question to South Bloc is that did it happen with India's consent? So are we giving our other cheek to be slapped by them when they have already done nothing as far as 2611 is concerned to establish
Obviously
the fact that, there were people from Pakistan, whether state actors or non-state actors. These are euphemisms.
No,
but clearly, Pakistani elements were involved in 2611, and Pakistan has not fulfilled India's repeated requests.
No,
and now we are going ahead with talks with Pakistan. Short of calling them comprehensive talks, there is everything included in the composite dialogue process that we are having. Ms. Rabbani is clearly playing, Ms. Rabbani Khar, as she is, she is the descendant of two very distinguished families from Punjab in Pakistan, is clearly playing as per the given script by GHQ Rawalpindi.
No, but if
she
they
is now the softer face of Pakistan, which Pakistan want to project to the world. But by leading with the Hurriyat, just before the official talks that India has invited her for, she has clearly given the message to India that she is not serious in pushing the dialogue process. This is a cosmetic exercise. This is a photo op, and she is going ahead with the formality of representing Pakistan here.
No,
my bottom line is, don't expect anything from Pakistan.
Mr. Bhadra Kumar, we can understand. She's a novice. It's her first trip. She's being tutored by Salman Bashir. She has to go back and say, I proved my nationalistic credentials, etc. But we have reduced, by doing so, she has reduced these talks to some kind of, a gladiatorial punch-up, rather than a serious process of engagement. Don't you agree, Mr. Bhadra Kumar? It's some kind of a gladiatorial fight they seem to want to engage in.
You see, there are 2-3 things here. First is it a precedent-setting thing? A visiting Pakistani dignitary, whether an official of the Foreign Office or from the political leadership, interacting with the Hurriyat figures, Hurriyat leaders in India during their visits to India. No, this is not the first time. I think this discussion is, Mr. Jethmalani has a very valid point in the sense that this discussion is about 20 years old, dated by about 20 years. We've come a very long way from, having to feel insecure, paranoid, or to have this sort of knee-jerk reactions. If a Pakistani dignitary wants to come and interact, meet, receive cordially, have a cup of tea with the Hurriyat leaders,
so tell me, Mr. Bhadra
in the
Kumar,
Pakistani Chancery building, I don't think the heavens are going to come down on us.
But
look at the.
No. My question to you, Mr. Bhadra Kumar. I have a question, sir. I have a question. I have a question for you. Please tell me, Mr. Bhadra Kumar, and KC Singh can follow up from that. Suppose India said, we will engage in talks in Islamabad, but we have a precondition. We have a lineup of all these Baluch leaders who constantly criticize Pakistan. We want to meet them in the Indian Chancery building in Islamabad before our talks, and if you don't allow that, we will not come to talks. Our foreign minister, our foreign secretary will not go to Islamabad. Will the Pakistanis agree?
There are two things here. I don't think it's a question of the Pakistanis agreeing. In the sense that this meeting has taken place on Pakistani soil, in Delhi and Chanakyapuri. And they don't need to, as far as I can see, they don't need to take any permission.
No, but
some Indian citizens have chosen to go there on their own accord. I don't think that they took the permission or they had to take the permission from the Indian government either. Well, now, coming to your question, I don't think it is very relevant, that kind of a question, because each country has got its own diplomatic style, its own ethos, its own principles.
KC.
I don't think India behaves like this. India's diplomatic style, its idiom is like this.
Okay, so KC.
So we have to look into this and see why Pakistan has done this.
No, but then you are critical.
I think
Mr. Bhadra Kumar, you are therefore...
Ornab, I need... can I just interject?
Before KC? Okay, KC,
I think we are making too much about diplomacy and diplomatic niceties. As far as India is concerned, if we want to go on and have a say in global affairs, we've got to start letting the world know there is a little bit of nonsense we are willing to tolerate, and that is Pakistan making pro-Kashmiri noises from Pakistani soil, which is across the border. In Indian territory, if you're coming in as a guest of India, diplomatic niceties be damned as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, now KC.
You are coming in to talk to India, to settle relations between the two countries. You are coming to resolve grievances in India which are long pending against Pakistan, and it's about time Pakistan also is sensitive to India's requirements. If she wanted to meet Kashmir Kashmiri leaders, she could have had them flown to London or Switzerland, where they anyway meet them and fund them. I don't see the need for carrying out this charade in Pakistan's High Commission here and making completely a farce of the dialogue which is going to take place tomorrow.
I don't understand here. I'm going to come back to Mr. Jethmalani and Mr. Bhadrakumar. I'll come to you. But KC, I mean, you know, everybody seems, I mean, it's obvious to everyone, they want to meet these people with the entire press in attendance on our soil. They want to meet these people on our soil because we have never consented for a tripartite dialogue, and Pakistan always wants these unelected and unelectable group somehow brought into the process. Should we have allowed it? And what's your response to Mr. Bhadrakumar, who says there's no relevance of the question asked about why this was allowed?
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. Now let's look at it in the larger context. The larger context is that the Foreign Secretary of India had gone to Pakistan. They managed to control the message very carefully that time. They came out with a very controlled message. And then they said the real confidence building measures across the LOC will only emerge once the foreign ministers meet in New Delhi. So they were building up to that. The two foreign secretaries have met today. They have not shared anything with the media because they have a bouquet of CBMs which they are probably going to announce tomorrow. Now, this was a build-up to it. Now, the question arises whether you have this meeting now or you have the meeting later.
Yeah.
Now, Pakistan obviously has been in a very difficult situation with Faiz exposure, with the downturn in the relationship with US, etc. There is a feeling which has developed in Pakistan that the Kashmir agenda is almost gone or finished, that it is no longer an issue in which the world at large is interested. Now, to allow this to happen. Now, secondly, I don't think this has happened inadvertently. All these people, both factions of the Hurriyat conference, were under house arrest in Srinagar because of what was going on, the demonstrations of the last 2-3 days. So somebody has lifted the house arrest, allowed them to travel in the morning. They would have known that the meeting with the foreign ministers only tomorrow. They could have been allowed to come tomorrow.
So you're saying it's a setup?
There is a deliberate choreography there.
You're actually saying it's a setup, KC. You're saying the Indian government is part of this setup?
It's deliberate. I think what they've, you see, because what is happening is if you're going to announce the confidence building measures, Pakistan is shifting the focus away from terrorism and bringing Kashmir onto the table as a main issue. And whereas after what has happened in Mumbai on 13th of July, the focus should really be on that. And you've seen the two home ministers Two home ministers just traveled to Bhutan to revive the Thimpu spirit.
But you see...
But after that, the Pakistani home minister has gone back to say, I'm sorry, your constitution doesn't allow voice samples to be given. So there is no movement, meaningful movement on 26/11, whereas you bring the focus back on Kashmir.